One of the key advantages of central authentication is that it simplifies the management of passwords. Did you know that up to 25% of people forget their password at least once a day? Helping users with password issues is a common task for an IT support specialist. Once a user changes their password in Active Directory, that change is effective on every machine that they're permitted to log on to. With certain exceptions, AD doesn't store the user's password. Instead, it stores a one-way cryptographic hash of the password. You'll learn more about hashing in the IT security course. In the meantime, the basic idea is that passwords can be easily turned into a hash, but hashes can't be easily turned back into passwords. You can't look up a user's password even if you wanted to. That's actually a really good thing. As a general rule, you should avoid ever knowing the password of another person's account. If there's more than one person who can authenticate using the same username and password, then auditing becomes difficult or even impossible. To audit your infrastructure in this sense means to analyze who performs specific actions in your IT infrastructure. In a security audit or troubleshooting scenario, it's important that only one person can authenticate with their account. So, keeping that in mind, how can you assist with the account passwords? The most common issue is that a person forgets the password. When this happens, if you have sysadmin responsibilities, you may be authorized to reset their password for them. This should only be done when you're absolutely sure that the person requesting the password reset is allowed to do so. Many organizations will have policies and procedures that require the request to be made in person, or that the person otherwise prove that they are who they say they are. Once you know that the password reset is authorized, you've done the hard part. The rest is simple. So, let's imagine that Matteo reports that he can't sign into his account because he forgot his password. In the Active Directory Administrative Center, which I'll show you right here, we're going to right-click on his user account. So let's find his user account first. And then right-click his account and click Reset Password. The password that we enter here will be temporary because we're going to make sure that user must change password at next login is checked. So I'm going to go ahead and create a temporary password. And I want to make sure that the user must change the password at the next logon option is checked, and then hit OK. Again, we don't want to know the user's password, so I'm not going to ask Matteo for a temporary password. He might just tell me a variation of his usual password, and I don't want that. Some orgs will have policies about how to generate and distribute temporary passwords. You want to make sure you know if those exist. We'll go over the details of strong passwords and having policies to enforce them in the upcoming IT security course. In this example, I'm just going to generate a random password and enter it here. Oh, what's this? User accounts can be locked by Active Directory if someone enters a wrong password for that account too many times. It seems that this is what's happened to Matteo. Once an account is locked, nobody can authenticate with the account until the account is unlocked by an administrator. Active Directory password policies control how many attempts are allowed before an account is locked out. We'll take a look at password policies here in a bit when we go over Group Policy Objects or GPOs. Back to the problem at hand. I want Matteo to be able to log in and change his password, so I'll make sure the option Unlock Account is checked. And click OK. If you look at what is happening in PowerShell, you'll see some familiar commands along with a new one for unlocking Matteo's account. When you change a password, you have to provide the current password as well as the new one. This is the sort of thing that happens when a user changes their own password. When you reset a password as an administrator, you only provide the new password, and your administrative authorization overrides the existing password. If this person has used the NTFS encrypting file system or EFS feature to encrypt files, they can lose access to those files if their password is reset. To learn more about this and how to prevent data loss, check out the next supplemental reading.